Another thing people have been asking about is conveyor belts and how to do them. And I've demoed 5 different ways of doing the same thing, all with their kind of pros and cons. And there are infinite boxes flying around the place. So there's a big old huge detour around all sorts of stuff just for conveyor belts, but really I'm hoping it'll teach people kind of general principles and stuff of how gadgets work. So now I will demonstrate them. So first I'll make like a test bed over here. Cool. Like that. And these blocks are just to kind of hide where they come in and go out, because different methods that can look really weird. So this method here emits objects that kind of, it emits stuff over here and they end up over there and destroy themselves, and it keeps looping like that. So let's make that version. So let's make a single tile, and let's make a timeline which animates it from left to right, and it'll bend between them, so we'll use L1 and X and put that over there, just put that there. So now we keyframe that to the end, and the beginning doesn't have to do anything really, so we can just leave that. And then, so as you play time, it comes out there and goes into there, and you never see it kind of spawn or anything. But we want it to be destroyed at the end, so first let's put it there. Let's group that, and then add a destroyer into the timeline. So again, we use L1 and right to expand this out, so that we can match this up, so that when it gets to the end, it'll instantly be destroyed. So we need that destroyer to affect the group overall. So now when we play time, it destroys itself at the end when you can't actually see it, hopefully. Yeah. And now we just emit that over and over again. So let's have an emitter, and this will emit that object. And don't want to add any speed because we're animating it manually, and see how that looks. So it's emitting across just fine, and we need to put that back so we don't see it spawning in. Awesome. So now we can fiddle with how long it takes between emitting each one until it looks kind of smooth like that. Yeah, not bad. Now if that had some stuff on it, and we could see it better, how it's emitting. So they're kind of overlapping, so you can adjust that until it's just right for you or whatever. I think that's probably about as good as we're going to get it for this test. Cool, so it just looks like a conveyor belt going across, just as you want it to. So now let's make something that will go onto it and be affected by it to make sure it's actually working. I want a regular box. And we'll emit that. And we'll put the actual box over here. And while this is open, we can actually see a preview of it. We don't want speed. Oh, we do want it, the box to be movable, so it will drop and collide with the conveyor belt and whatnot. Cool. So it's being carried along, and if we turn that off and turn off the grid, we can see that that looks fine, apart from you've got to wait for that to go along, which is the problem with the emitter method. If it's like elsewhere in your scene and you're not looking at it right away, then you can probably get away with it. But if it's close to the start of your scene, then that isn't really ideal. I'd like to thank Martinity DK, Jack Power, Hyper Dream Surfer, and all of my other supporters for making this tutorial possible. Thanks for watching. If you'd like me to continue making these tutorials and helping creators across the internet, you can find out how to support me in the link in the description. Thanks for your consideration, and I'll see you in the next one.